Welcome to Pedo Teeth Talk, brought to you by the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry, a podcast show that delivers cutting-edge ideas for the professionals specializing in pediatric dentistry.
Thank you for tuning in to Pedo Teeth Talk, where we bring you the contemporary issues important to you and your practice, brought to you by the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry. Thank you to our Pedo Teeth Talk sponsor, Ep.20, for helping us bring you great content. We couldn't do this without them. Visit them at www.hughfriedy.com. That's h-u-friedy.com. We're here today with Judy Haller. Judy's going to talk to us today about the 5 habits fear uses to keep you crazy busy. Wow, this is going to be amazing. But I want to introduce Judy, and then we'll start talking together. Judy Haller is a keynote speaker, author, and a professionally trained improviser and alumnus of the Second City's Conservatory in Chicago, Illinois. We all know Second City. Judy studied and performed improv theater at night while working full-time by day in the meetings industry in sales and marketing at companies like Marriott, Omni, Starwood Hotels, before starting her own company, Holla Productions. Holla Productions, 2013. She's past president of the Meeting Professionals International, Chicago area chapter, and she was named one of the 40 under 40 in the meetings industry by Connect magazine in 2015. She has a passion for the meetings industry and is proud to work with Meetings Mean Business to advocate for the undeniable value that business meetings, trade shows, incentive travel, exhibitions, conferences and conventions bring to people, businesses, and communities. Judy's book on fear is my homeboy.
Yes.
I'll tell you later about it. I just bought my copy. You need to order it. It's out on Tuesday. Can't wait to read it. How to Slay Doubt, Boss Up, and Succeed on Your Own Terms was recently endorsed by Mel Robbins, calling it relatable, relevant, and most importantly, actionable. Fear is My Homeboy comes out on May 28th, as I said, next Tuesday, and is available now on Amazon. You can get it yourselves, and you can get all kinds of experiments on creating content for you. She is most likely riding on her Peloton bike at home. I want to hear about that sometime. Deep in a book or hanging out with her husband, Scott, and their golden retriever, Tito. Judy likes her books, especially her own, I will.
Yeah.
Her non-digital, her wine bubbly, and her music hip-hop.
There you go. Look at that. Full
I'm sorry
bio.
I didn't have time to talk about all that, but we're here today with Judy here live at the annual session of the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry at the Tech Bar in the Exhibit Hall. And Judy, thank you so much. I heard you this morning as the MC of our opening ceremony, and man, did you give me some energy.
Oh, well, thank you.
I mean, I can go. I feel like I don't need to sleep tonight.
There you go.
I'm ready to go. I don't want to stop. So,
who needs coffee,
that's
right?
So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you.
So you and I talked before about fear, and I think that's the theme. You know, fear is my homeboy. I want to hear about what that book is about.
Yeah.
And the habits that fear uses to keep us crazy busy. And I know you're going to get to that, but I want to start by hearing a little bit about your background. I introduced you, but how did you come to work on fear? Why did you focus on that as sort of the thematic means of educating?
Right. Well, I think for me, the big flashpoint was studying and performing professionally at Second City in Chicago. So here I am doing improv at night and by day working a full-time career and building a career in sales and marketing right here in Chicago in the meetings industry. And here we are at a meeting on a trade show floor in an exhibit hall. And this is where business is getting done. You know, we believe in the meetings industry that when we meet, we change the world. And we do believe that there is big power in coming together face-to-face like this, and even just putting a podcast live on a show floor is a brave, bold, courageous move in itself. But, so I was building this career in the meetings industry, working with organizations like yours to come to my hotel, representing brands like Hilton. But by night, I'm working as an improviser, and I am learning how to dance with my fear. And I started doing all of these really brave, bold things on the improv stage to become a better improv performer. And I thought, well, okay, if this is working for me at Second City, am I doing enough of this in my day job and in my personal life? So I started running all kinds of fear experiments with the goal of getting uncomfortable every single day.
Experiments, I'm sorry, you said you were doing your own experiments.
Yes, fear experiments to get uncomfortable every day with the goal of getting more comfortable being uncomfortable. For example, I would make it a game to speak up first on the conference call. I would raise my hand first in a meeting. I'd sit in the front row of the meeting. I would, ask for the raise. I would confront the negative person at work. I would put myself into all kinds of uncomfortable situations to get better at being uncomfortable. Because if you really think about it, that's what improv is.
Right.
And the more you do it, the better you get. So in a nutshell, if I could have one slide in my keynotes, if I could have one page in my book, it would say that scary things, uncomfortable things don't get less scary.
Right.
But you can and will get stronger. And the only way you do that is by doing.
Going through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not trying to reject it. Not trying to get rid of it.
Yes,
That's what you told me.
To work with it, to dance with it. And that's what making fear your homeboy means. It's this idea of befriending your fear instead of trying to outrun something that you're never going to get rid of to begin with. So why don't we, what do they say? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. That's kind of how I am with my fear.
Yeah,
I like to keep fear in my back pocket so we can
Your
work
fear
together.
could be your enemy, but you learn how to manage better because of embracing it in a way.
Manage it. I'm the boss.
You're in
fear.
charge.
Yeah.
I love it. So you're facilitating a session here on the show floor and tomorrow called Balance by Design. What does balance mean to you as it relates, maybe tied into the fear?
Yeah.
What does the balance mean there?
So balance for me, balance is a funny word because, is there balance, right? And I think everything is kind of blended these days because work bleeds into life and life bleeds into work. So I believe in freedom, and I think balance gives us freedom. I think it gives us the freedom to be flexible, because we've designed our lives and our schedules and careers to be that way. I think it gives us the ability to be focused. Like right now, I am focused because I've designed and structured my schedule to be here. And I'm not on Instagram while I'm sitting here with you talking, or I'm not thinking about my email. I'm in this moment. And that's a mindset shift. So that's freedom, though. You can really be free when you have this ability to focus. And
being present.
Being present. That's what improv is all about. And then my favorite, to me, freedom is the ability to be spontaneous. So that you can pivot and be flexible on the fly should you need to. Think about it. You come down with the flu and your week is kind of messed up. Do you have enough buffer in your life to rebound from that? The flight gets delayed. The kid gets sick. The car breaks down. Sometimes we are running at such rapid paces that we don't have buffer in our lives. So to me, balance is freedom and really designing a schedule that gives you the freedom to live the life you want.
I love this. Take charge.
Yeah.
So let's jump into the 5 deadly habits fear uses to keep you crazy busy. We all crazy busy. And what does fear do to keep us crazy busy? What are those deadly habits?
Oh, yeah. Well, fear loves when we stay crazy busy, because when we stay crazy busy, we're not focused. And when we're not focused, fear can easily slip into our lives and make a mess of things. So the big 5 habits I seem to find bubble up all the time around fear. Fear loves when things are cluttered, whether it's our iPhone, whether it's our desktop, our actual desktop, the desktop computer, whether it's our car, our closet. So clutter is a big deadly habit. And we can dig into that in just a minute. Deadly habit number.
That's why there's a hoarders TV show,
yes.
Right?
Clutter is a very dangerous thing, and sometimes it's just clutter in our lives personally, like toxic friends and people we have in our lives that we don't have the courage to let go of. Folks running around our practice, people that we have to serve in our community. That toxic negative energy is a problem, and we can clear the clutter out that way as well. Mm-hmm. Marie Kondo our lives a little bit. I don't know if you know.
Marie Kondo, I love that.
Marie Kondo, she's an author, and she writes a lot about decluttering.
Decluttering. Yeah. So that's number 1.
Number 1. The other one would be fear loves when we're too accessible. We're way too accessible. So there have got to be tools we put in our lives to protect our time.
Boundaries.
And we're too accessible because deadly habit number 3, we say yes too much. Now, we talked about this morning in the opening keynote. I challenged the group to say yes and this week, right? Which is an improv cornerstone, and it's important, but we also have to say no because no protects our yes. So I think we say yes too much, and there is a way to figure out what to say yes to and what to say no to. So that's deadly habit number 3.
Okay.
Saying yes too much.
Saying yes too much.
Number 4 would be we don't schedule our priorities. Anything you want to have happen, you can have happen, but it takes guts and courage to really think thoughtfully about your schedule and put a plan in place. And then number 5 would be not managing your energy, not managing or protecting your human energy. And we can certainly talk more about that.
I want to hear about that. So,
yeah.
First of all, when you say human energy, it seems intuitive what that means, but what does that mean to you? And how do you manage your human energy? You've got so much energy. You manage it well. You give me energy.
Yeah,
so
and that's what energy is.
Yeah, it's exchange. You can't the principle of physics, energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be transferred.
Correct.
So that's kind of what you're saying.
Oh, you can catch bad energy as quickly as you can catch cold, right?
Right.
And you know this. You have these people that walk into your office and they literally suck the life out of a room, out of a board table, out of the practice. So, energy's a big deal. And so I really believe that nothing works unless you do. And so, we've got to be thriving personally and professionally, again, where this idea of balance and freedom come into play, because if we are miserable in our practice, if we are miserable in what we do every day, it's going to show up at home. And if we are miserable when we show up at home, if we're miserable at home, it's going to show up in our practice. So I think managing energy is about taking care of that holistic human being that you are before you go take care of the rest of the world. And this is a brave act because we feel guilty in doing that, because there's a lot of people that need us. There's the people in our practice, there's the people in our lives, there's the people in our family that need us. So we feel guilty for carving out that time for ourselves, yet it's critical.
If you're not healthy, you can't help
works.
others. You have to keep yourself healthy.
Nothing
It's
works.
such an important thing, but you give us the right way of thinking about it. So I want to talk about one of those 5, you said, I think it was the first one, was about clutter. You talked about clutter. I love throwing things away. I'm one of those, the opposite of a hoarder. Maybe I do it too extreme, and I love being organized, but maybe there's a better way to think about that. What's something that we could do right now to make us more organized that would really be effective?
Yeah, certainly. As we think about clutter, okay, there's a little piece of research. So maybe we've got some doctors listening in that may enjoy some research and some data. So research is showing us, when we think specifically about clutter, that it's overstimulating our senses, so think about this. Clutter, all of the clutter in your life, in your closet, on your iPhone, on your desktop, it is overstimulating your senses, which means that it's leaving you exhausted and it's leaving you tired, and it manipulates you. The science and the data is showing that this will manipulate you. Clutter manipulates you
into
thinking.
That's the intent of it.
It manipulates you into thinking that your work is never done, because there are constantly stacks of things everywhere that need to get organized and moved around, and so you're overwhelmed and you're exhausted and you're stressed out. So I think the hack here and the workaround is and it's so simple, but it's to schedule time to make it a priority. Even if you take 30 minutes a week to say, okay, I don't know about you guys, but just the other night I went through my iPhone and I decluttered my iPhone. And
feels good, doesn't it?
It was magic.
It feels so good.
I feel lighter.
I know.
And I put a really juicy screensaver. It's a nice beach that's calming and relaxing. And I literally organized everything, and I got rid of so much junk. And I feel physically and mentally lighter. That's what I'm talking about. But you know what I did? I took 30 minutes to do that, and I gave myself a gift that is still lasting.
I love
all
it.
These days later. That's how you get around it.
That's fantastic. That's a great message, because even those of us who feel like we're always decluttering, don't schedule time to do it.
Correct.
That's the great message.
Time block it.
Time block it out. We will pause now for a word from our sponsor.
Hugh Freedy is the global leader in dental instrument manufacturing and infection prevention solutions that keep you performing at your best. For more information on Hugh Freedy products, visit hughfreedy.com/AAPD-crowns. That's hugh-freedy.com/AAPD-crowns. And enter the promo code 2682 if placing an order for pedo crowns.
We're back with Judy Holler talking about 5 habits fear uses to keep you crazy busy. And wow, this is exciting. And I wish we had 3 days to talk, but we're going to read your book. I have your book coming in. And Judy, we were just talking about saying yes. It's one of the 5 habits fear uses, saying yes and not saying no. Tell us about saying yes too much, and how do you say no? Any creative ideas or scripts that you have maybe to put in our head the next time we feel like we really want to say no, but I'm afraid.
Yeah.
The fear, right?
Oh, totally.
Fear is using that on us.
Well, right, and we want to please everybody.
Yeah.
We all have this FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. And so, and also we want to do it all, right? Because we want to do all the things and be all the things, and it's not physically possible. There's always a trade-off. So while we need to say yes, we also need to say no, because the big aha moment here is your no protects the yes. So what is really those yes moments in your life, and use your no to take care of that. So I follow a couple of guidelines when I think about, is this something I need to say no to, or is it something I need to say yes to? And one of my new favorites right now, you guys may get a kick out of, is the first way I know I need to say no is it does not raise my vibe or my bank account. If it drains my energy and it does not put money in the bank, I'm going to probably say no to it, right? Because I think that can be...
I think we all feel that.
We do.
We feel it,
but
we
are
don't...
we brave enough to
we don't go through
honor it?
So what you're saying is to listen to your feeling.
Yeah.
And stop and say, I'm afraid because... But I'm going to say no.
Right.
Because of this. Because it doesn't add...
It doesn't give me the right energy.
Give me the energy or the dollars in my bank account. Or it's not giving me the
resources into my business,
Which it helps with energy.
Which helps with energy.
They're both energy.
To that point, another way I know I need to say no is if I'm not excited about it. But I will put a caveat on that. You know, listen, we've got to go to the dentist. We've got to pay our taxes. We've got to do things that sometimes we don't want to do. But if we are not excited about it, again, it goes back to energy, then why are we saying yes? Another thing to think about, you know, are you doing it for you? Or are you doing it to please someone else because you're worried they're not going to like you or they're going to judge you and all these things? And a lot of times we people
codependency
please.
in us.
Yeah, I'm a recovering people pleaser. And so I have gotten really clear on this idea that, yes, I want to help other people out. Absolutely. That is one of the biggest joys in life, to be able to help pull other people up. Yet, if I am only doing something to please someone else and I'm doing it more times than not, that's a problem.
Especially if it's to your detriment.
Especially if it's to your detriment. Because what it's going to do is drain your energy and make you irritable and resentful.
And less able to help others.
And less able to help. Your bandwidth goes bye-bye. Yeah, and then the other thing to think about, too, last thing I'll say is it doesn't line up with your priorities.
Right. So regarding scheduling our priorities, you were talking about that's one of the ways that fear uses to block us. What's one thing we could do right now to get a handle on, you talked before about taking time of the day. I'm going to take that one home.
Yeah.
I'm going to start that today. And I bet you when I read your book, I'm going to pick up a lot of other pretty helpful things.
Yeah.
But I think, how do we do this? How do we manage our priorities better?
Yeah, well, I think it takes the guts to sit down and do the work. So, I mean, if you want one hack for the folks listening to this podcast, and certainly for the folks here in the live audience, it's going to sound simple, but most of us don't have the guts to sit down and do this. And it takes a little bit of bravery because you have to plan. But every night, sit down and look at your day the next day and literally decide, does this still work? I mean, most weeks on Sunday, I am mapping out my week. I use a goal focus planner. It's a planner it's called the Volt Planner by Ink and Volt. I write all about it in my book, and we can link up to this in the show notes. But I use that every Sunday to set up my week, and these are designed scientifically to help you double your chances of achieving your goals. So every Sunday I'm thinking about my week, but you know as well as I know, our weeks do not go as planned, right? We have the turbulence hits, just like our keynote speaker said. So what I do every night, every afternoon, 30 minutes, what does tomorrow look like? And how am I setting myself up for success?
Priorities.
And what am I doing for my business? Mm-hmm. Me, not the business that I run or the business I work for, but what am I doing for that business of Judy first before I take care of the rest of the world?
These are real aspects of the same thing that fear does in different ways.
Correct.
Because if you're setting priorities, you're also decluttering.
Correct.
You're also enhancing your ability to say no.
Correct.
And to say no, right?
And protecting that, yes.
It's all about protecting yourself.
Yes.
So that you can do the good things that you do.
Yes, and I think when people think about this word no, always come back to saying no protects your yes. Yet when you're in alignment with what your yes is, it makes it a lot easier to say no. And these goal-focused planners are designed to help you do that. But again, you've got to put in the work. And sitting down every night to really look at your day. This is your day. Yes, you may have a family and a practice and a lot of people that need you. But this is your life, and nothing works if you don't.
That's such an important thing. Regarding habit number 4, you talked about being too accessible.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we all have that in us because we're giving, caring about others all the time. How can someone who stays engaged at work in their practice yet not be accessible to everybody all the time? Everybody wants us. They want a piece of us. I mean, when I hear you speak, I want to hear you speak tomorrow. I want all your time. I want to talk to you all day.
Right.
You don't have all day.
Right.
We have our time together.
Right.
How do you manage this and make yourself less accessible to take care of yourself?
Yeah, how do we protect ourselves and not be accessible, but still be accessible and amazing human beings. It is a dance in itself. So a little stat for you, and something I read the other day, and we put some of this research in my book. Did you know that the average worker in America with an iPhone, which is, almost all of us, we spend 6.3 hours per day on email and checking our phones combination. And as I look around the room, we're shaking our heads at this, and it makes me sad. And then we wonder why we're not getting anything done. So think if we could reduce that to just 3 hours. So here's my hack for you. Because when I read that, I said, well, no wonder I'm irritable and sick and stressed out and overwhelmed and exhausted. And we have anxiety attacks and panic attacks, and we get sick, right? So this is a real problem. I have decided that the first 30 minutes, and I started with 30 minutes. Now, it's usually the first 3 hours of my day, but everybody's business and practice is very different. So I would encourage you to lean into this idea. But if you can take the first 30 minutes of your day for you and advance one thing, take action on one thing for yourself every morning. Maybe it's your afternoon. Maybe you're more high vibe in the afternoon. But I take the first 30 minutes of my day and I advance one thing, a dream or a goal that I'd like to get done. So maybe somebody needs to quit a bad habit. Maybe we want a certification. Maybe we want to read more books. Maybe we want to, move to a new city. Maybe we want to take an improv class. Maybe we want to, whatever that may look like. Maybe we want to leave a toxic relationship. What is that one thing you can do for yourself first before you go take care of the rest of the world that's going to advance those dreams and goals that are going to make you a healthy, happy human being? That's the goal we're chasing. And you can get a lot done. Think about that. I don't have a calculator, but what's 30 minutes a day times 7 days a week times 30 months in a year times, think of that. Think of what you will get done. And we have research in my book that shows a few case studies on what women and men are doing that have taken some of these ideas and made big, big changes in their lives.
That's fantastic. And that leads me to the sort of the last habit that fear has about taking our energy away.
Yeah.
And really they all relate to one another, but they're different aspects of what fear does to take control of us instead of us taking control of it,
right,
as you talk about managing it. So let's talk about managing energy. How critical is one's energy in their overall quality of life? We see you with so much energy. You give energy in this positive way. What about our own energy? How important is that in our overall quality of life? Critical. And here's the deal. I certainly, my energy, I would say, is my superpower. I think we all have a superpower, that thing we do better than anyone else, that thing we always hear people say about us. So I would challenge you to think about what that superpower is for you. But let me tell you something. I work hard on that, and I work harder on myself than I do on my job and in my business, and I work hard in my business. So imagine how hard I'm working on myself. So I do a lot of things mentally and physically to take care of the machine, if you will, and to protect those assets. I do this. I live an 80-20 lifestyle, right? 80% of the time I'm really good. 20% of the time I'm kind of naughty, right? We have to have a good time. So I'm not trying to say, oh my God, I meditate every day. Although I am doing that in May. My birthday is May 30th, and the gift I gave myself this month is 5 minutes of meditation every day, and it has been cool. You also have a book for your birthday.
Yeah, and I have a book coming
2 days
out
before.
2 days before my birthday. But it's making it a priority, because again, the bottom line is this, the juicy nugget to leave you with around energy and just in general is nothing works unless you work. So you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job, and everybody benefits.
That's so great, Judy. So I want to end on that, talk about your book that I've mentioned a few times, and I'm getting my copy on Tuesday, the 28th of May. Called Fear is My Homeboy. It's available on Amazon right now, and you can get a sneak preview with a few downloadable freebies, including Judy's secret weapon, her morning daily planner. You referred to that before, by texting BRAVE, B-R-A-V-E, to 474747.
Yes.
So text BRAVE to 474747, and you'll get a sneak preview of some of the great content in her book. Maybe as a final wrap-up about the book.
Yeah.
It's going to talk about many of the things you said today. What are the other? What's something why we should What can we take away from this book?
So this book is for the person who understands that fear is an issue and is ready to get out of their own way. This book is going to help you manage fear so you can get the heck out of your own way. And I use the ideas in the improv theater to help you think differently, but it's not an improv book. It's a life book full of relevant, relatable, actionable tools. It's a fun book. And my favorite thing about the book is each chapter ends with 5 homework assignments. So these are really tools, and I designed it so that you can literally take these ideas back into your reading circles.
That's the actionable part.
It's the actionable part. You could bring them to your team and conduct meetings. You can use these to inspire blog posts that you write for your practice and in your world, and certainly use with your family and friends. So it's really actionable, but it's a book about bravery, and the bottom line is it's going to help you get out of your own way.
Thank you so much,
Self-doubt,
Judy.
coming back to the keynote this morning.
That's right, self-doubt. She manifested all these things you talk about.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Thank you for being here with me today.
Oh,
I really
what an
appreciate
honor.
it.
Great interview.
Great to meet you. And
thank you.
Can't wait to read the book, see you again, and talk about it sometime.
Ditto.
We could do a book signing somewhere.
There
maybe.
we go. Next year, AAPD 2020.
That's right. So I want to thank you, and I want to thank our audience for tuning into Pedo Teeth Talk, where we bring you the contemporary issues important to you in your practice. Brought to you by the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry. And I thank everybody for being here live at the annual session of the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry in the Tech Bar. And we will see you next time. Thank you very much.
Pedo Teeth Talk is brought to you by the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry, the show that delivers cutting-edge ideas for the professional specializing in pediatric dentistry. If you have any questions or comments, please email info@aapd.org. We welcome your ideas for future shows and guests. For more information on the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry, visit aapd.org.